Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your program director, Mr. Adam Craker.
Welcome to the Conscious Leadership and Ethics Summit 2024. My name is Adam Craker, and I'm absolutely privileged to be your program director today. Once again, in fact, for those of you that have been here before. Over the years, the summit has become a staple for us to come together as leaders of business and to take time to contribute to our own growth, the growth of our businesses, and as part of our responsibility to the world. Welcome today to the Auditor General, Sakani Maluleke, to Professor Mervyn King, to Palesa Fili, and to all those that have travelled from far and wide to give of their time, energy, and wisdom at our event today, especially Dr. Dominic Heel, Rowan Gillies, Dr. Risha Arora, Dr. Jan Bellerman, and our partners Lubin Ozo, Pepe Murray, Merrick Abel, Viviana van Arktmal, and the Bank CIS executive, Nicholas CIS, James Bowen-Jones, and Roman Devaget, who travelled from Switzerland. All our members and those in our ecosystem that are here today as well, you are all welcome, who have journeyed or walked the journey with us over the years. We really look forward to a day that's jam-packed with wisdom and insight from the very many diverse speakers. Our two panel discussions that will take place later, and reconnecting, of course, with the business leaders who have chosen the path of conscious leadership. The Conscious Leadership Strategic Report will be put together by the voices of the speakers, panelists, and international icons, and you, the delegates, and it will be delivered to all the political heads on the ballot paper, as well as key business leaders in the country. There is, in fact, in your packs, a delegate submission form inside your programs. So please take the time to share your thoughts on how to embed conscious ethical leadership in our country or your company. If you are on social media today, you're competing with Edwin Roberts, who's in the audience, because I saw he was the first to start using our hashtags, hashtag conscious companies, hashtag conscious leadership, and indeed hashtag summit 2024. Please make a note of those and actively tweet or X or LinkedIn or share your views from the conference today. And a very special thank you to those that are joining us via our live stream on the YouTube channel. Please, if you are there, don't forget to like and subscribe. So without wasting any time, to get the day started, from the Conscious Leadership Academy and Agni Media Concepts, please put your hands together and welcome Guru Kali.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome once again to the business leaders and seekers of truth that join us here today. It's a long and winding road down the path of truth and consciousness, a complicated affair with volumes written from the east to west over the centuries, pages and pages of rumors and stories. One of these stories is about Albert Einstein at the age of 5. Laying in his bed, sick, his father gave him a compass to play with. At first, young Einstein was puzzled. No matter which direction he twisted and turned the compass, the needle always pointed north. He was captivated. And then a spark went off inside. And for the first time, he realized that there was a nature that existed beyond what he could see or hear. And his curiosity was born, pursuing physics so that he could understand the workings of the universe. Today, the story of our collective pursuits as the human being plays out an equally intriguing narrative. Throughout our recorded history, trade and industry has paved the way for the story to be told. Ancient civilizations navigated across the seas as much as today we report on a CRM, and the oceans can still be as treacherous. Navigating governments and states, stepping through landmines and bombs, negotiating in and through the bureaucracy and regulations of regimes, monarchies, democracies, and chains. Whether it's for a loaf of bread, a bag of rice, or delivery of 2 million 15-ton stones, business has always been there to fulfill the need of the time. At the turn of the 21st century, the cure for the innovator's dilemma was pointed out as disruption, and delivered it has. Over 2 decades on, and we find ourselves in the early phases of the fourth industrial revolution, taking off with fury as future technologies beta test, and about halfway through a season of global government elections, with many options on the table, while international alliances reshape, populist sentiment stirs, and the veils of democracy lift. Legislation attempts to regulate technology and pushes to impose on new media platforms, and there is still the question if AGI will even care about our regulations. For now, though, it's chaos as usual in the upside down. Lockheed is bullish, and geopolitical leaders have new toys to test out. In South Africa, elections are also upcoming, and political sentiment, once hashtagged as Uncle Cyril, is now affectionately referred to as cupcake. And alternate options for the 29th of May range from the many fragments of the existing corrupt bureaucracy to apparently going back to apartheid, or just plain apathy. Conspiracy theories or humans gathering in conclaves and WhatsApp groups to conspire. It is a country with a strong heart if it can only sidestep the snot lying on the road between comedy and tragedy. Finding ethics in state has never been a common occurrence over the many empires ruled by emperors and kingdoms ruled by kings. Nowadays, we have countries, and for many, the ice may seem thin, but the will of man has persevered so far. We have rockets to space and brain chips with Bluetooth. The edge is an illusion, and the future will always belong to the next generation. And even if your podcast says that World War III is an option, we will go on, because it's not only the dead that have seen the end of war, even stars die, but their echo goes on. So we each contribute to the chains, enamelware, or perspective, to the apathy, love, or hope, sometimes placing current need above the perceived complications of tomorrow, and sometimes, maybe rarely, with the courage to carry a light for the future. And some of these individuals who make that choice may be with us here this morning with their own stories of a spark that went off inside. Stories of an internal experience that moves the needle and an aching beauty found between the silence of each breath. Leaders with visions to turn ripples into tsunamis, slipping through the hashtags and strategic frameworks and the many, many voices trying to straighten out a wiggly world. And with the knowing that as the human being, in our sample of one, both the collective punishment and the collective blessing belongs to us all. Knowing that there are no passengers on this ship we call Earth, and that this is a responsibility we all carry, whether we are aware of it or not. All in the business of being a human being. Playing our role as countrymen with a flag, beggars on the street, teachers, or business leaders. We are this tale we call the human being. So whether we choose to colonize the moon or to dance naked before it as an ancient friend, we each already have a contribution to our collective story. It's unavoidable. And if we are already made of star stuff and the universe is truly endless, then why not strive for something out of reach? Because if not for chaos and love, then what is breathing for? So welcome, and thank you for being here this morning. To those drawn by ethics, and to those drawn by the strange pull of what they love, and the courage to love, and hopefully to a few wanderers here this morning. Welcome not just to the Conscious Leadership and Ethics Summit, but as the summit, as the story unfolding. There is a saying that discussions of ideas cannot destroy the illusions of the world, as talk of a lamp will not get rid of darkness, but who you are echoes unavoidably. I hope that you make it a good one. Thank you. Please don't forget Melvin's mic.
Thank you very much, Guru. Up next, we have Professor Mervyn King. He is a patron of the Conscious Companies Organisation and the Good Governance Academy, yet requires no introduction as a legend and an icon of corporate governance globally. Ladies and gentlemen, we're privileged to please welcome Professor Mervyn King.
Thank you. But I'm pleased again to be here at the Conscious Company Summit. I want to take you back to the middle of the 19th century, when wealthy families were tired of investing in failing businesses and were left to pay creditors and employees, although when the business failed. So they started refusing to provide working capital to start new businesses. The government in the United Kingdom at the time said, well, it's essential that we create new business to create jobs. And the intellectual leaders of the day, like Lord Gladstone, said, why don't we, the government of the day, the representative of society, create an artificial person who they can provide money and get a share, a part of this artificial person. And having invested that money as working capital for the artificial person, they will have no duty or responsibility to the company. The clergy were alarmed. The leader of the Anglican Church at the time, Lord Thurlow, said, who are we to create a person? Only the Almighty can create a person. And we're creating a person that has no mind and no conscience and cannot be charged with treason. Notwithstanding, by 1855, the United Kingdom government legislated to create the limited liability company. And that meant that on a subscription for the shares in this artificial person, that the subscriber, the initial shareholders, once they had subscribed and put their money in, that was the end of their duty or responsibility to the company. The concomitant for this protection was when the business failed, they went to the back of the queue after creditors, after employees, and then got paid. There was nothing to say when persons were elected to give mindfulness to this incapacitated artificial person, what their duties were. But it was clear that these corporate leaders became the steward and guardian of the company's assets and its business affairs. And so, at the end of the 19th century, going into the 20th century, the law on guardianship of human beings was well developed. If I became the guardian of an incapacitated human being, my duty was loyalty to him, good faith, to take great care of him. Whatever skills I have, I would contribute in planning for his or her well-being. And I would do my homework and really understand what his or her circumstances were. Good faith, care, skill, and diligence. And that became the duties of a director of this incapacitated artificial person, the company. And we moved to the 21st century, where the governance architecture is still that the shareholders appoint the corporate leaders to give this incapacitated